Hey guys, so the end of Pride Month is coming up real soon, which means that it's going to be your final chance to get one of the adorable capybara in a rainbow flower necklace sticker, as long as any of my Pride merch, which is currently 25% off. And one of the items that I've had that I really like for Pride are these little Pride packs, and each one of them will come with 3 not waterproof stickers. It's going to be the Claws of Pride, the Feather Pride, and the Polka Pride, as well as an I Heart Me button, and those are currently 25% off. They're originally $8, but like I said, they're currently 25% off. So the link to my Etsy to get one of those is down below, and then a link to my Patreon to get an exclusive sticker is also down below, as well as my Instagram to keep up with any sales, coupons, or whatsoever. And like I said, this is the final speed paint of Pride, but don't worry, there is going to be more typical Pride stuff throughout the year as normal, because I am gay. But that just means like whatever characters I'm drawing, this is going to be the last one, just for now. I think we're going to go back to damn it, Zapdos. I think I'm just going to go back to some Persona stuff, maybe some more Vincent, Thunder, whatever I feel like. So I'm just going to let this roll out as it will and let voiceover Emily take over the rest of it. Hello and welcome to the final week of Pride, at least for speed paints, because the next week is going to be July. I mean, we celebrate LGBT people all year round on this channel, but as for specific Pride theme artwork of doing characters that I normally wouldn't draw throughout the year just because I don't give them enough time in my life, that's over. My sale for all my Pride merch, 25% off everything, is still going on until the end of the month, so be sure to check my Etsy down below for that. And my Patreon for the month is coming to a close. I was really shocked that people weren't as like on the board with this capybara. Like, I had a bunch of people who were like, yeah, capybara, and then I just never heard from them again, and I was like, okay. I thought it was cute, and I'm really glad I have leftovers, so that way I can take them to the events I'm doing this year. So yeah, some explanation for this, because if you've been on my channel for a couple years, then you're gonna recognize Traeger. I did a painting of him and his wife, Rafaela, a long time ago. I just remember how proud I was with the roses on the side. I was like, yes, this is my peak in watercolor paint. But since that, my partner and I were discussing more like OC stuff, like partnering and pairings and lore, and we were like, we don't have any characters that are a poly relationship. Let's change that. Because in the lore for Traeger's story is that he's a scientist who fell in love with a ghost after being, I know the term is not widowed, but his wife passed away and he fell in love with a different ghost. Well, his wife ended up coming back as a demon because she was a good person, but she was also kind of a bully in high school and she died young, so it's like, you're a demon. So she came back as a demon to try to get back together with him, but he was already with the ghost, which is Rafaela. And we had it in the story that this other quote-unquote competing scientist named Deuce, who's the Irkin with Traeger in this, got into some accident that Traeger may or may not have caused. Traeger technically killed him, and his ex-wife, or former wife, who's Veronica, revived Deuce with like demon powers. And Deuce just like went to go home and his whole lab was just burnt down. Accident, not even Traeger's fault. So Traeger kind of felt bad because he's an insane scientist, but he has like manic episodes, so he's like, I actually didn't mean to kill you, I'm sorry. And Deuce was like, okay. So then I got to the point where Deuce actually ended up getting together with Traeger's former wife, Veronica. So it was like Rafaela and Traeger living under the same roof as Deuce and Veronica. And during that time, just because of how Deuce is also a scientist like Traeger, but he's more on like the chemical side, Traeger is more on the biological side. So they started working together, and then they started like, oh no, it's like, are we cheating on our wives right now? And the wives were like, okay, no, we've hung out a lot, and maybe this is just for the best that we just open our relationships. Because I am not poly, I am monoganistic. That sounds like the wrong word, but you know what I mean. The only person I love as a relationship is my partner, so I don't know how to write people who are poly, so it's kind of just like this random thing we slapped into our OC story that's just like, these two, poly, everybody together, yes. So the way the poly relationship for this works is that Traeger is still married, well, as married as you can get to a ghost, with Rafaela, and then Veronica is married to Deuce. Veronica and Rafaela are girlfriends, and Deuce and Traeger are boyfriends. Does that make sense? It makes sense in my head. The point is, that's why I was drawing Deuce with Traeger, because we were talking more about their OC lore, and I was like, I want to draw them again, because in my sketchbook last year, when we went to Philadelphia for my brother's top surgery, I drew Veronica and Rafaela, like girlfriends together, and I was meaning to draw Traeger and Deuce, and I just never did. It was one of those things I was like, oh, yeah, I'll get to that when I get home. and then getting home turned into a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, that's why Trigger Deuce. I like it. I think it's cute. I'm really loving this vibe with the backgrounds I've been doing. Shape, and then like the color fill, and then a solid black background, or as solid as I can get with marker, because I'm trying not to use like paint or anything on my cardstock. And I think it looks good. I love being able to say, hey, I filled an entire page with marker. And the white outline or silver outline like I did with Ohuhu and Virion last week, absolutely perfect. Love it to death. And I'm so happy to be getting back into my markers, like since I did the Virion and Ohuhu thing, like redeeming myself. I was like, yes, it came out so good. I just want to work with markers now. And I actually, the week before this video comes out, I remade my marker case because my old one was a little smaller and falling apart. And I've been meaning to remake it for 2 years now, but I just kept forgetting. But I finally got around to it last week, and I spray painted it black and purple, and I put all my Squishmallow tags on it. It's bigger, it's sturdier, all the markers fit perfectly, because last one my browns were literally falling out. Their section, the bottom piece broke and they were falling, but I made a new case. It's so good, and I'm glad that this actually turned out well, because the rest of my week last week has not been good, like with Roe versus Wade being overturned. Luckily, Pennsylvania is an abortion-safe state, and with the, oh, they're gonna be overturning same-sex relationships, same-sex marriage, interracial. Pennsylvania is 100% forever and always going to be a protective state as per the governor. I'm relieved for my own self, but for everybody else, it's bullshit. And I'm sorry if you live in a state where things are being overturned. This is like week-old news now, but like I said, I'm doing this a week before, but so there's that. And then this will be a story time either next week or the week after. Brief summary is my former employer is refusing to pay out a vested vacation, which it's Pennsylvania law that you're supposed to pay out the vacation, and the government will help me because it's a he said, she said. There's a quote unquote contract. It's a handbook, but the handbook can't overgo the law. Like, he could put in the handbook minimum age of 16 years old to work a deli slicer or an oven, like for food service. That doesn't change the fact that the law is 18 for that. So I don't know. I'm not getting any help. So I'm fully dependent on my small business right now. And I posted a reel last week. My sales are down 59%. I don't know what happened. Everything on my Etsy is just tanking recently. And I'm like, I just invested more money into stuff because I'm doing more shows. So yes, please, please, please consider supporting my small business or my Patreon. I love anybody. I love you guys. I love being able to give back to the community. And if you guys like my artwork, like, supporting my business is one of the biggest things. Subscribing is amazing. Liking, leaving a comment, or following my Instagram. Just anything helps, especially now. I think that's all I needed to say. I need to go put the Squishmallows back on my bed and edit this so I can get started on the Patreon painting for next month. So be sure to join so you can see the Patreon only playlist and get exclusive prints and stickers. And I'm sorry that this video is a little longer. I talk a lot. Especially about my OCs. Like, ever since I've come to terms that I have ADHD and like hyperfixations and stuff, I can just talk and talk and talk sometimes. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you next week. Maybe it's a story time, maybe it's not. I have to talk to somebody to see if we're gonna do a plan for the story time. That should be everything. Be sure to follow my Instagram, shop my small business, my Etsy, join my Patreon, or subscribe. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.